Days late, always a few dollars short, but we're back, people. I'm Jason Schroeder. This is Vital Speed Practice Podcast, always joined by my good friends Tanner Stevens, Dakota Norton. Yet another season of World Cups. We're back for our 5th year of podcasting. Let's just start this off with the 5th season. Yeah, Dak, it's our 5th season of podcasting. I sound insane. Dakota didn't even know, but I've had laryngitis or something for like 8 weeks. Like, no exaggeration, since like basically when I didn't come to, was it the Tennessee National?
Yeah.
Like, starting then when I got kind of sick, but also just like was super depleted on energy. My voice was getting like kind of softer, and then got super bad before Sea Otter, went to Sea Otter, fucking cooked my voice. And then, yeah, you remember that. I saw you there. That's right.
I feel less bad about I feel more bad about giving you a hard time now, because I honestly thought you just came up with an excuse to not come visit me in Tennessee.
No.
I was actually a little upset. I thought maybe our friendship was taking a turn, and I was sad about it.
I mean, going to the races always sounds like way more fun than sitting at a computer and working, you know? But yeah, dude, it's been a weird journey of like going to the doctor, everything's fine with my throat, trying different things, and like nothing's really made it better. But it's slowly getting better. Like, even though right now I still sound, I don't even know, like I need to clear my throat or whatever it is, which is also like the most annoying part, is it's not my throat. It's like fully my vocal cords. Like, everything feels fine, and I go to talk sometimes and nothing happens. I got a rev limiter and it's just set a little too low still.
You just picked up a little southern twang. Honestly, I like it. Like, I think down south they say you got a little drawl when you're y'all or something like that.
Oh, no, I got a cricket.
Got chizzed.
Yeah, I got chizzed. Exactly. But yeah, let me tell you, flying to Europe 2 weeks ago, I literally could not talk. One of the more entertaining things I've done in my life. Like, you know, like when you're in a plane, there's a lot more white noise or whatever you want to call it than you think. I literally couldn't talk to like the steward, like the flight attendant or anything. It was nuts. They were like, chicken or fish? And I was like, just mouthing chicken. Yeah, exactly. Chicken bak bak. But yeah, that for anybody listening, definitely lowered my productivity for other podcasting. Well, I haven't bugged you guys to podcast for like the last 2 months, and I'm quite behind on filming videos, let me tell you. So it's all good. Dude, not to be like it's the worst thing that could happen to you, but losing your voice and not being able to talk gets super claustrophobic feeling. It's like the best way to describe it, because like I was going days without saying anything, or like, you know, like living with another person, and like Lauren's trying to talk to me and I like can't really communicate. I was like, this is fucking driving me nuts. So I'm just glad I can at least talk some. So, you know, it's fun. Anyways, that's not that important. What are you guys up to? We're going to hear about you, Dak. That's what people care about. Tanner, what's new with you? You got a new bike. That's my only new bike.
Yeah, I got a new bike. I went and stayed at Dak's house for a couple weeks.
That's true.
Yeah, we got some stuff done while I was out there. We got him kickstarted on his training, and then came back and just shooting photos, and that's about it. I feel like
just content creation out the ass.
I don't know about that, but
are you influencing? How much influencing have you been doing?
I don't think I do that well of influencing, to be honest.
Maybe that means you're good at it, because everybody influences like in the same way these days.
What is it? I don't know.
Yeah,
I went to Kernville. Kernville was sick. Went to the Killer Kern. Got a story coming out for Scott on that. Did a 4-day gravel bike, credit card camping, bike packing thing back in March. That was sweet.
Where was that?
Went from Santa Barbara up to San Luis Obispo to Big Sur. Did a big loop, like a 10,000 foot day in Big Sur, like mostly dirt, and then stayed in Big Sur, and then went back to San Luis Obispo and took a train north from there. Used Amtrak. So that was the first time I'd really used Amtrak since I was like really little, which is pretty sick. Also, there's a full story there on the Scott website. So yeah, it's about.
So is that one already out?
Yeah, that one's out. So did that, and then yeah, got a little Killer Kern story coming out sometime soon. Just trying to get stuff done, you know. That's all we try to do. Yeah.
You know, otherwise people forget.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of forgetting, what have you been up to, Dak?
Forgetting or being forgotten about?
I'm just kidding. Everybody who clicked this podcast is like, give me the Dakota Norton update.
Oh, well, Tanner came over. We washed at the Windrock National, flipped the tractor tires, so I don't flip the tractor. Got some jobs done. He helped me like get a jump start on some stuff so I could get back on the gas. Did some trail riding at Rock Creek. I had a little hiatus there. Went to Sea Otter. I had a little issue not having a bike after Sea Otter. So it kind of cut into my month and a half preparation, turned into about a 1 month preparation, unfortunately. Yeah, a little extra time to maybe ride my dirt bike and do a little trail riding. And then shot it up to Mountain Creek. I was just gonna go for like a fun ride weekend, right? I said if I'm gonna ride my downhill bike again, like I've done so many laps at Windrock. I love Windrock. And then come to find out they built a bunch of new stuff and it's been great. Like I had a blast riding there. I kind of forgot that. I was thinking I was going back to the same Windrock where it was like a little hammered. And I was like, this is not where I want to start, a place I've done a million laps. So I was like, drove up to Mountain Creek and I was like, man, it'll be super fun. I'll ride the jump trail. I'll ride all weekend. And then Aaron Gwynn just ropes me into racing. I'm like, I literally first run, I felt like Ricky Bobby when he's coming back out on the track. And he's like, all right, I'm really going to open her up this time. And it was the other cars were Gavin, Mikey, and Aaron, and they were moving at the speed of sound compared to me. And didn't get a lot of runs because there was like some weather issues and the lift was a bit shut, and ended up racing and put together a halfway decent race run after I had rode my my walnuts in seating and seated 22nd. I was a little frustrated at my first entry back into racing, considering both of my feet were off and I was in the tire. And ended up being like 2.7 seconds off Aaron Gwynn. And I was like, oh, well, maybe we're back. Booked myself a plane ticket to Europe and straight to the old Andorra World Cup track to fight for my life. So here I am.
Okay, so from the Times New podcast, beginning of the year, or post injury, following your recovery and all that stuff, and then you haven't maybe been posting too much on social, but I mean we're
kind of been dropping the ball on that.
It's the Friday after Poland right now. Like, where are you at? Like, you're in Europe. Are you ahead of schedule? Are you getting back to actually like racing soon?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, right? Because I said, like, literally I went to Rock Creek and I didn't walk the track because I couldn't walk down it. Like, a little bit more about my injury. We give a little bit more detail on that. I started, I guess I'm maybe, let's say, like 160 some days post-op. So I have been walking for maybe a little over 2 months, I think now. And yeah, walking for a little over 2 months or so. I don't actually know. Maybe it's 3 months. My goal was to race at the 6-month mark. So I'm like 2.5 months since I started walking. And at first it was like literally way harder than I expected. Like I really crushed it with my neurologist and like all the functional health stuff I'm doing and healed pretty fast. Like, I don't know, like obviously the way my doctor explained it, he's like, there's a bag of cement. If it's 72 degrees, it's going to cure faster than if it's 65 degrees and you're fit, you're young, relatively young and fit. I did a lot to keep blood flow and it healed pretty quick. But I was also non-weight bearing for like a little over 2 months, which was a bit of a bummer. So when I came back, my low back was so weak. My hamstrings were weak and my my pelvis was very unstable. So when you have a unstable pelvis, it's really easy to get your like your pelvis will twist if it's not even, right, asymmetrical, and then your SIs lock in your low back. So I kind of at first like really struggled with a lot of low back pain, and like honestly the worst thing I can do is sit. Like if I like sitting in the car going to Mountain Creek, I stopped like 5 times, and I was like still like so wrecked when I got there I could barely walk. And then I took my dog to Michigan, and then so it was a ton of driving and then flying to Europe, and like walking is the worst thing for me. With that being said,
Wait, walking
I
or
was
sitting?
or sorry, sitting.
Okay.
Walking is the best thing. If I stay busy, stay moving, it's awesome. If I sit, it's terrible. It
Yeah.
gets really tight. With the injury itself, I when I first started like kind of getting back into training, like just doing like a body weight Romanian deadlift, like to pick something up off the floor, or like I can trap bar deadlift 275, but I literally cannot do a single leg deadlift with a 20-pound kettlebell because my pelvis on that side is pretty unstable, and like it's hard to like jump up and down on one leg. But I'm like relatively have gotten myself pretty strong, and it was really weird because I was getting so much pain in my hamstring. And with the injury itself, if you dislocate your hip, there's a strong possibility of tearing the artery that brings nutrients to the femur, right? So I had a lot of pain in my hamstring, upper hamstring, and also I had a lot of fear of getting avascular necrosis, which is like what they call that when your femoral head, the bone actually dies from not getting blood supply. So I got some answers to both of these questions. Why does my hamstring hurt so bad? And A, do I get a hip replacement in a few months, or like go back in the replacement? And went in with the doctor. I booked the plane ticket or I booked the appointment with the doctor right before I was going to get my plane ticket to go to Europe like months ago, like at the 3-month mark when I had my checkup, and went in, and it was like pretty scary because we were like, doomsday, like is it dead, or does it look healthy? And he said everything looked really good, and he says like when he got in there he had to kind of pull my hamstring over a bit and like really wrench on the hamstring attachment to be able to get a screw in my pelvis, because the hamstring, this is why the big fear of like the weight bearing process is the hamstring actually attaches to where the pelvis was broken. So if you pull on the pelvis too hard with the hamstring, it will actually move the bone displaced pieces of bone. And yeah, he had to put that screw in there, and it did a lot of damage to the hamstring when he put that screw in. So I kind of just understood that like, okay, this is not like a normal like a hamstring tear or like a little bit of a ligament attachment issue. This is going to hurt for a long time, and I just kind of have to keep working on it. But also it's strong enough I need to continue to look at the big picture of my strength to get back to riding. And luckily, like the way I stand, my hamstring that hurts is back foot forward, or back is the back foot, and I'm right foot forward. So I can ride better than I can walk. And I hadn't had any pain riding until today. Like I did my second day on the old Andorra World Cup track, and it's like hammered. Like it's pretty gnarly. And by the end of the day today, I was like getting pretty sore in the compressions, and like I'd done 8 runs, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm ready to call it for the day. But with that being said, like the riding speed is coming back great. I mean, I only had like I think 10 runs before the race run at Mountain Creek on the bike, which was pretty crazy and like far surpassed my expectations for my performance, and really opened up my mind that maybe I can get back to racing sooner than I thought. And now we're pushing to race at Leogang. Obviously race is a relative term, but I really feel with like body, brain, and craft, like the craft and the actual riding part of it may be coming around, and the body may be coming around. And if I wait till those things are at 100% and then I show up to race and the mind is still at 80%, like I figured this is my starting point, and to check my ego and just go ahead and get back to the racing. And yeah, it's not going to be what I want, but at least start wrapping my mind around craft. And start to move forward as an athlete and in a competitive environment.
Makes a ton of sense. I got
That's a little bit long-winded, but I think that's the detail people maybe wanted.
100%. I have two questions. One, I'm assuming from a healing standpoint, you're not at as high of a risk to actually like re-injure your hip at this point. Like you're clear to go race and all those things, or
Yeah, I actually I decided I was cleared about 2 days before I went in the doctor's office. I was at the motocross track and just clicked third and held it on and jumped this big triple at the track. And I was like, well, it's
good.
I'm flying. It feels
Clear
good.
to
I'm
take
flying.
off.
And I landed and I'm like, it's good. We're good. But yeah, no, it's like I said, he said the bone was healed at 3 months when we started going back to exercise. He's like, the bone looks great, it's just going to take you some time to get the tissue in a better place, right? Get the tissue to heal. And he's like, the bone's good, it's stronger than it ever was. So there's no fear of like obviously like pending the injury, but there's no fear of like re-injuring the hip socket. It's just taking time for a lot of those muscles to start healing in the hip.
Yeah. Okay, my other question then is, you got hurt riding a motorcycle, so is there any like post-injury fears getting back on a downhill bike because you didn't actually get hurt riding downhill?
Of course, like there is just like left turns. It's like I feel like I can't really hold my knee out like I would like, and I'm feel a little stiff like the Leaning Tower of Pisa when I'm turning right. Like I just like kind of get a little bit out of symmetry turning left compared to right. But there's always like, no, not really. Like jumping that jump that I got hurt on again was a little bit like, oh, like kind of gnarly, but not really. No, it's not like I had like a hugie and I was like riding along and clipped a tree and obliterated myself. And I have like that fear, like I was flying through the air on my downhill bike with my feet above my head. It was just, and I was in an unfortunate incident and it sucks because I was like at the peak of my career and capable of winning, but also at the same time, these things don't go away. So just understanding that it's going to take me a little time to get back, but I still am the athlete I was, and yeah, it is a little different not getting hurt on the downhill bike. It's not like I was going through a rock garden and the front end stepped out and I had a huge crash doing that. So yes and no.
Yeah, that makes sense. You were at a peak, not the peak of your career.
A peak. I like that. That's very optimistic. Thank you.
I mean, Dave, the reality is, when did you get hurt? November, December? When was it?
December 9.
Dude, it's not that long ago. Like,
No,
most
no,
people
like,
that actually live where there's a winter probably stopped riding before then and are just now getting back to riding again. So
yeah, and I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like sometimes I hit corners and I'm like, oh, these boys better watch out. And sometimes I go into a compression and I'm like, oh no, I better watch out.
yeah, no, I can imagine. I'm sure that's how it'll probably be for a little bit, but dude, that's sick though. I mean, your perspective on getting back to racing is cool to hear, and I think selfishly, I think a lot of people just want to see you back at the races. It's understandable that you're not going to be like contending for a win likely at the very beginning, but better to have you there than not, and for yourself, your own brand, your sponsors, all those things, I think it's important.
Yeah, no doubt, like 100%. And it's just like I think with my career, there's been like a ton of transparency, and I think that's like the same thing. Like, yeah, of course, I'd love to come back and just like wait till I'm 100% and come back and try to go back to where I was, like nothing happened. But I think a lot of the transparency I've had with my career is kind of the transparency I'm trying to go forward with. It's like, hey, like in all reality, maybe I'm not ready to be here, but also like I think that there's a lot that I can show of like a bit of like strengths and weaknesses and triumph and defeat, and just like being in being able to be a bit what is the word I'm looking for, like put myself out there and just like be real and be like, yo, this is hard, I'm gonna try to do it. And yeah, of course, like I didn't want to do that with my injury. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to see anybody. I wanted nothing to do with anybody. But but like now that I've made it through the hard part and I'm in a little better of a place mentally, it's like, okay, yeah, this is going to be hard, but like it's something people can cheer for. They know I've like had a big setback, and also at the same time, it's a pretty cool like comeback story. So I've just accepted it kind of is what it is, and took my ego out of it and go back to work.
Yeah. 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 It is cool actually thinking too about, you race Leo gang gives you a good starting point for your return. And it probably more so it gives other people a starting point.
Right. Ryan Pinkerton is running a blender.
I don't hear it at all.
Yeah.
He's just ripping a blender. So sorry.
He can blend away. It's all good. What type of a smoothie is Pinkerton making at 7:00 at night? That's the real.
Oh, I can tell you much. It's a Gatorade and
protein.
steak and whey protein. No greens. There are no fruits in there.
He just says now he's just like, I'm on straight protein. I only just want straight protein. And I'm like, do you like want it like the bun, dude? Like just eat the bun like it's or whatever, like the potatoes. He's like, nah, straight protein. I need to get some muscle on me. I'm like, you're fun.
You need to get some muscle. He's already got like
I was gonna say he's got plenty.
Yeah, he's got muscle to
He's
spare.
jacked.
Yeah.
Man, that B-Lopes
Going to
diet.
Aubrey's with that man was an experience.
Heavy on the meat.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Dakota looks a little bit fearing for his life right now.
Yeah, is your computer about to die?
No, I did that thing where it pops up and it says low battery. The Mac will soon stop working. So yeah, I was in a little bit of a situation, but I got it. Thank you, Frida.
Oh man. Dak. So moving on from the injury, how's the setup looking? How's the Chariot?
Dude, Chariot rips. Now I have a charger that has a USB to lightning bolt in it. I'm in a bad place. Chariot rips. I think the thing with the Chariot is we got the new Fox Shock now, and I was kind of like I've kind of went like in a pretty wild direction with my setup, and yeah, it's definitely riding deep and it's damped and fast rebound, and I love it. Like I think it's pretty rad to like the feeling I have. But at the same time, like, yeah, it's we had some things last year where kind of lacking support. Like obviously I run big handlebars, so like when I hit a corner, it feels like I'm getting a bit ripped off the back because I stand so tall. So it like causes some like let's call it not yeah, dude, that thing's fast. Like it just wants a wheelie coming out of the corner and it's away from you. It's like 80 horsepower, like Eli Tomax 450. 450 ain't enough. Same money ain't enough. I gotta get them bars on there. No, but just because I stand so tall, like it puts a lot of weight on my feet, and then and because I also want to ride it soft, it's like a recipe for hitting berms, right?
Yeah.
So it's the new Fox Shock. Man, I rode it for the first time. It's incredible. Like it's really good.
That's such good.
Yeah, it's like a real
kind of shocking actually.
Yeah, like it's like real shock. Like it really does it. So and then there's a little, I guess the new air spring has a bit bigger of a negative chamber, and I was running a bumper. I mean, obviously, I think that it's public knowledge that I think they posted a picture of it now. I was running a bumper last year, and that was like pretty cool because I didn't have to worry about like my teeth hitting together if I hit a hole. Like if I was running it soft, I didn't have to worry about it smacking the bottom.
Or do you mean like you're running like a different shaped piece gone?
Dude, look how far over I am in my screen.
That is funny. See, now that for anybody listening, we don't really know how Google Meets always records these, and the layout on our end is way different looking than before. But now with Dakota gone and only seeing you and me, yeah, you're pretty offset there.
Yeah. And that had me centered.
Man, I remember a few years ago, we would have so many technical difficulties with this
Oh, yeah.
podcast. Back before we used Google Meets, we're using like Riverside and all those other platforms. It's been a while since Dak just pulls the disappearing game. If I had to guess, his computer died.
Yeah. I'm gonna say his computer died.
Okay, let's come back to talking about shocks with him and his bike setup.
Yeah.
Do you want to start going through this list I have of gossips of the week? Unless there's anything in particular you want to start with, but I mean,
pull up the doc.
my very first note here is just about the pros and cons of having so much coverage around a race weekend coming out.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I guess my 2 cents on this is that, like us doing this podcast a couple days after the race, I almost enjoy because it gives us the chance to let all of like the headlines, the dust settle a little bit from like the race weekend. Like we'll probably still talk about
The stupid
Amory
pole
going around
thing
the pole,
and
Harriet, and
Harriet's
having
runner.
yeah, with trail runner on course, and but like
Yeah.
in a lot of ways, it's kind of
That stuff's
turning into
been
like turning into like Supercross, yeah, where it's like a race to post the news, but then you get to like Sunday or Monday afterwards, and it's like crickets. But I think it's sick. Like there's team vlogs, rider vlogs, Instagram, the broadcast, and all of them are like putting out more content. We put out content, Pink Bike puts out content, but like can be a bit much. But I guess if you don't pay to watch the race, that's also a good thing.
I think that there's too much content, I would say. And too much of the same content.
Yeah.
I don't think
can be.
I don't think every team needs a team video. Like I know that's just to please the sponsors, but realistically, most of these team videos are getting 1,000 views. And that's like maybe someone watching 30 seconds of the video. So I think the big teams, like the Common Sols, they probably should have that, and they should probably just do it in French, like just for the French fans. Like,
yeah, but then they don't get any views.
No, I think
that's like a huge thing on YouTube that I've heard is like, I was just chatting with some European media during that Orbea camp, and like they can't put anything out in their native language because it hanks on YouTube,
really,
which is fascinating. Yeah, because nobody wants to watch titles in English as the dominant language.
Yeah, because I was about to say, like, I think that the Zeroed team, the MS Zeroed team, I think they have Veronica or Barrow. What's her name?
I was drawing a blank. So you threw me for a loop there.
Rojo Sanchez, her, and they have he's back, but they have her and they have who is the other one? But they should do it in Spanish.
It's like a very South American team.
Yeah, they should do a Spanish team recap video, or at least have those dudes, those like few riders, leading the charge on that and fully going in Spanish. Like I think that would be sick.
Yeah,
and it would.
No, I agree. I think it could be cool.
The South American market, but like there's just too much of the same content, I would say. I think Vital Raw is like king, but like that and Cathro's videos. Cathro, I think, is trying to be more edgy now with the whole like Amory pole thing and all of that. But like, I don't know.
Yeah,
he's just more. I think he's more so trying to stir the pot. I think that's his whole thing right now. Is like he's trying to stir the pot, and that's what he's always been on with his like line analysis and that kind of stuff. But I just think it's like it's drawing people's attention to like the weirdest, like the things that don't really matter, in a sense.
I mean, I think there is more of that now than there once was. The clickbait's like the wrong word because there is still cool analysis and it is the things that are happening at the race. But like, I don't know. It's like for better or worse, like you want to know all of like crazy bikes and like the new tech at the first race. And like, of course, Amory going around the pole, which our forum found first. Just want to point to that. But like those things happening, it is great conversation. But at the same time, it's like
It should just be like,
there's a lot of conversation about the same thing. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's like kind of like a weird. I'm not maybe trying to complain about it. It's just maybe more like there's a lot of like. I mean, maybe for us, Vital, it's just becoming increasingly hard to like give people unique news because there's a lot of eyes, a lot of people covering the same things, you know?
agreed.
So,
Yep. And I mean, it's like you can't argue with the Vital Raw. You can't argue with just people riding a bike and the racing is the racing. I know people were making the argument of like Emery should be disqualified so Matt Walker could have got in. And it's like, well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but Matt Walker wasn't fast enough to race this weekend. Like, that's just how it goes sometimes.
oh man, should we start Polgate?
But
Oh boy, I like
like,
Amari. I seen him today,
yeah,
but I don't like what I saw on the internet.
I agree with your point, Tanner, but I do think that
I think there was 2 poles, and he was on the beeline, and
Bring back
unfortunately, unfortunately, like the beeline in that circumstance was faster, and everyone went around the jump at the top. It was, it doesn't need to be argued.
lack of consistency for sure. You know, I
He was
think
inside the poles,
100%
outside of one pole, inside of
another.
Yeah.
I was listening to Downtime Podcast post race show, and I forget. I think it's a team manager of Intense. I forget his name, but he had a really good point where he was like, "I'm running a team. I'm busy on the weekend. Why is it my responsibility to watch the race and go to the UCI and protest something happening?" Which is like what people were saying, like, "Oh, Trek did or should have done sooner, whatever." Maybe not even should have done sooner, but it's on Trek to see that. I'm like, where is the UCI? Why are they not like? There's just, it's so funny, like all the talk about like trying to professionalize the sport, but then like little goofy things like this, just there isn't like a somebody at the top saying this is what we're gonna do about it. Even like Harry, like why was it a rerun?
Yeah,
You know, like why are we even talking about
what? Like,
yeah,
that should have been a rerun.
I mean, that's like the guarantee of downhill racing is you're against the clock only and you have a clear track. It's like the one constant.
And you got to pass runners now. Crazy.
It'd be more entertaining that way.
But I will say, back at Junior Worlds in 2014, is that when they had Leah Gang Junior Worlds for the second time? Or it was Junior Worlds or Junior World Cup when Loris knocked himself out and Luca Shaw was following Loris for like literally like a minute, and they didn't give Luca a rerun.
I did forget about that. Yeah, they were like in the contention for the overall together.
Yeah, it was contention for the overall. It might have been just a World Cup, but
I think it was just a World Cup. Yeah.
Yeah, it was at Leah Gang, and he was just following him.
Yeah.
Like, now is the go on now, but
totally. Well, it's hot. It kind of takes me back to like the multiple times when we had tape that somebody would like mess up, blow through the tape, and then just get back on a couple pulls later and get DQ'd. And we'd all, you know, they enforce that rule super strict, even though realistically it doesn't make sense. It doesn't give enough leeway to really look at individual situations. And it feels like we're basically having that same conversation through a different lens, especially with like the whole rerun thing with Harriet. It's like, where is the person that looks at this that makes the call? Then like the call really is like she should get a rerun. There was somebody telling her, you know.
I guess my argument about it and like what I see is strange is, what is the registration nowadays? It used to be around like 100 euros or something like that. Back when we were
Padilla trade teams like 100 grand.
Yeah. So like there's all this money that's going into it. And there's all these UCI people running around trying to make sure people don't want to, you know, trying to make sure people don't pee in the bushes or something like that, giving out fines for that kind of stuff. But they can't just watch the screen, and they can't just have a panel of 3 people watching the screen, watching the race.
I know.
That's what would be the easiest thing. It's like they have it in Supercross. They give out fines. They have a panel of people, so that's not just one person. But yeah, that's
the hard part too is the hard part too is say the situation was somebody running on track. What if that happened right before the camera caught it? And then what, the rider has to come down and try to like explain themselves. And, the course marshals are just volunteers typically. I don't actually know if they have UCI officials on track or not.
Yeah, I
But
mean, it should have been just red flagged as soon as that happened. They should have just red flagged her for fear of like her trying to push further and like injuring herself because she's trying to make up time.
Yeah.
From a runner on track, and it's like they should have just red flagged it, sent her right back up. I mean, yeah, maybe let her wash her bike, but like,
yeah, totally.
Should've-
Yeah, and I get the whole
right back up.
like the whole broadcast tightness or whatever, but I'm like, they have to factor in for red flags, oddities. There has to be some time built in to where, reruns are not the most uncommon thing to happen. What if a tree fell? Like,
Yeah.
what if a sinkhole occurred? Crazier things have happened.
Yeah. It was interesting, that one. I think the other one, with the whole poll thing, I don't think that should have been like an argument really in the first place.
Nah.
Doesn't look
got figured out.
I did send you guys the video of Ryan Gilchrist going around the start gate at Frankworks Cairns, and that should be something that the UCI needs to like look at. I think that is a UCI event, and I think it's a bigger deal where he put his front wheel around the gate
wand
thing, the wand. Yes, the wand.
Timing wand.
Yeah, his front wheel around it says back wheel hit the timing wand instead of his front wheel. And I don't know if it starts on your chip at the top, because I know the chip is for the bottom. I'm pretty sure more so for the beam at the bottom.
Yeah, there was some people in our forum pointing out that there's like a few different systems out there and how they function. Like some are definitely the wand, some are like maybe not necessarily. I have a very hot take on this. I think it's totally fair game. I think if there's opportunity, fucking take it. Like it's not.
This is your inner SoCal coming out.
It is. But if you look at most World Cup start gates, the little poles are really tight and the wand covers that whole gap.
Yeah.
There is no opportunity to do what Gilchrist did. In this case, the start hut is super wide. So he had the opportunity to do it. I'm like, he's not, yes, he clearly did that on purpose, but like very gray area. It'll probably be different for the next time, but like opportunity taken. I don't know.
But it's like, do you start further back in the start gate so you have a bit of
it looked like he did
a rolling start to Dakota? Would you start for like maybe a foot further back where your bars on the very end?
I think nowadays
they always have the markers
thing. Yeah.
I think every race, if there's a board, I'm against the board. There's no board, I'm at the very back of the wood. Like this is an unwritten rule, right? Like pedaling around the wand. I hope he clipped his handlebar underneath the railing and got squarely, because I don't want to see.
No. He ended up second, I believe.
Yeah, he didn't win, so there is that.
Yeah.
But it is interesting, that's for sure. I'm just waiting for people to start ghost riding their bikes across the finish line. I'm super pro that as well.
I'm very down with the ghost ride. If you can ghost ride and win,
like
that's such a G move.
I have rode the faster beeline. Like that's an opportunity taken.
Yeah.
But I just think like there's backup timing. Like, of course, like there's gonna be two times. Like it is what it is. But that I don't know, man. Like I don't know. I just don't think that's in the spirit of downhill.
Yeah, but everyone's going around to jump at the top, so like it's just like
but everybody hits the wand and you pedal out of the starter.
Yeah. But I'm saying
everyone does do that.
No. That
is like what you do.
But in the Amory case, Amory case, like, what do you think? You think he should have gone over the jump and jumped left?
Or I really like Amory. I like him as a person. I seen him today. He's a great guy. I didn't like him. I don't.
Would you have
because if you've seen that I didn't give an inch, they were taking a mile. I missed the pole by a tire length, and debatably my bottom bracket was on the right side of it. And in my first was like, oh, I went out and I walked back up. That is like a whole nother level of like.
I totally forgot about this.
Which You know,
Although,
I
Dak, you do know that the pole he went around, there was still another pole further
He
to
was
the
still
outside.
inside the track.
So technically, he was still within the track.
He was on the beeline.
The issue is they had a pole marking like the edge of the jump, which was like the A line, but where he went was still B line. It's very confusing. That's more the argument
I didn't know
here
there was another pole.
is like
Yeah,
the
and then there was the
clarity of
outside of the marker of the
Yeah.
track, like outside of that.
like their clarity of course marking, which, if I'm being honest, this really highlighted like such a minor detail probably when they marked the track, you know.
Well,
And a lot of it was how it was filmed also, you know, like it
it's the
looks
same
bad.
thing. Months in, I sat in the meetings group and I said, where this pad is, you can jump over it. How are you going to marshal this? And then I jumped too early, jump over it, and hit the pole on the back of it. Like, it's like when you're there's mud covering your goggles
Mhm.
and like you're like surviving for your life halfway down Mount St. Anne in the wet. And there's this like sketchy marking that like this pad is in a hole that's like you're at the level of the top of the pad when you go across that section. So it's like this is an issue. Like this really is an issue. And that's why they form these riders groups for us to go there and talk about these issues so they don't happen. But this also is like, yeah, I didn't know there wasn't another pole. I just thought he like rode out of the
But
track. I was like, that is
there's still an
not
issue
cool.
though,
But
you know,
it's
like the
still an
little
issue.
the
But I
little
also think this is like,
Cherubies markers are too small.
yeah, like does this go back to what Jason was saying about like, is it the team's jobs to have someone monitoring the whole race? And then is it the rider's job to make sure that the track is good?
Mhm.
Like
Or
that
even
should
to
be
be
on the
like
end.
or even to be like self-moderating your race run in a way, you know, like Dak for you and Munson and say that the rules are set up where of course you have to stay within the track, but there's leeway. Like somebody makes a call per situation. So in that sense, you monster truck over the pole and you're like, well, we'll see what they say, but I'm going to keep going my race run. And you get down to the
Yeah.
bottom and maybe all the riders vote. And they're like, the Dakota Norton get an
0.5 seconds
advantage.
off.
Or
They-
actually do it realistic where it's like that maybe gained Dak 0.1. We'll take 0.1 off his time. You know, like that sounds more fair. That sounds like a more mature like race organization to me than just asking for a bunch of money and then just saying like here's our fucking rules, but we kind of pick and choose when we do them, and like we're actually not even at this race. Like XC's happening soon, and like that's where all the money is, and like hey Vanderpool, we like road bikes, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, Q1 Q2 best change though that we have seen. Maybe I thought it made for excellent day before racing.
I thought it was wild that they took 50% or a third of the field came from Q2, where I thought it would be like 25 from Q1, 5 from Q2, instead of 20 from Q1, 10 from
That is
Q2.
an interesting point. I think it maybe just has to do with, I mean, in a lot of ways, it seems like it's more based on how things have been, where like top 20 in qualifying always had points, chop it off right there, backfill with everybody else, the top 10 from it. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy to realize we have more than 30 race winning capable riders pretty much. So that's nuts. I thought it was cool in the women's field I think it actually maybe creates more opportunity for the women in the past who were like that 11th, 12th, 13th place to actually have the chance to get in now, which is really sweet.
Yeah, I think they made a lot of good changes for the women's field, and definitely need to be bigger than it was, and that was good. Yeah, it seems crazy to do 2 race runs within an hour and a half of each other, an hour maybe.
That's intense.
Yeah, that is wild. But I think that was a good change. I mean, selfishly, I would always like to see like top 40, just because I remember when we were racing, it was like if you got a top 40, like that was like a big deal, like being in the top 4. It was like it just seemed like it's like top 5, top 10, top 20, top 40 was like top 40. You were like capable of being on a team and stuff like that. But
All
yeah,
right, here's what I'm gonna say. It did make for a lot of drama with some big names outside of the final.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just like
Totally.
the how was your weekend sort of thing with that Lawler did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of wild. Like, I mean, Jackson talking about how he didn't think he'd ever be at the top of a World Cup and not think he was going to qualify.
Yeah.
That
That was
I
probably
found
my
inspiring, by the way.
well, as I said, that was one of my favorite I mean, Dak, you've lived the like, please God, let me qualify so I can actually race this race I came to race. But like there was so many top dudes who were like, oh my God, I was so stressful. And there was probably a lot of people looking and I'm like, we've been waiting. Welcome. This is like
Yeah.
this is the only type way we know World Cups is just struggling to actually participate. So from that standpoint, I thought it put everybody on the same playing field, which is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, the names that weren't in there, like
Yeah.
I mean Matt, Charlie
Matt
Walker,
Walker,
yeah,
Laura Greenland,
Chris Hauser, Oliver Zwar, Remy Meyer-Smith. Like these are like factory teams, you know?
yeah, Reese Wilson. Like,
Very
that was an interesting one. Yeah, Ethan Craig. Like,
yeah.
I know he was just off injury and stuff, but yeah, a lot of people that.
I have a question for you guys about this. Let's say this is Tanner and I in our freaking prime, actually better than our prime. So we're like 30th to 40th place riders, okay? Q1, do we even try? Do we just participate, kind of get warmed up, and then we go for it in Q2 because that's our time to actually make it?
Oh man,
That's a tough
This is an interesting strategy because this may be my strategy here soon.
We're actually about in race.
I got one lap in this hip. Which one's it gonna be?
I'm looking at the weather. I'm gonna be checking weather.
Okay.
All right. So if the weather is supposed to start getting worse, I'm writing off Q1. I'm risking it in the bad weather because I know a lot more people are gonna have struggles in the bad weather.
That's true. You're selling the nice, but so is everybody else. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's tough because obviously only 10 people go out of the second one, but you're fighting against maybe more equal competition. I think I write off Q1 and I save my legs and my energy for Q2.
I'm gonna need a pit board halfway down in the mechanics area to let me know how I'm looking.
He's going Nick Leo style.
Hey, dude, can you put a pit board out for me around the second split? Let me know if I'm hooking or not.
Why don't we see pit boards? That's a great question.
Apparently, what is it? Loic?
They did something in the last year.
They do green and red. Like that's what Nico Lilio did back in the day. Was green and red. But yeah. I don't know. Do we have comms? Can we have in-ear comms? Is that allowed?
Jitsu bails on us. We could.
I think that'd be the worst thing for Supercross, by the way.
What?
Yeah,
no,
I don't want that.
I like it.
I think from the safety aspect of like, hey, runner on track, it'd be good, but I don't want anything else.
Oh, runner
on track. Tree has fallen. A tree has fallen. Head on a
sinkhole after sector 2. Stay left.
A river runs through it. Yeah, no, I'm going bad weather. I'm hoping that some people break themselves off in Q1. And the cold field a little bit.
Don't even go up for Q1.
Yeah, I'm rolling the beam in Q1.
Just break we're no longer breaking beams, we're breaking wands. Just break the wand.
The wand. And yeah, I'm putting it all on Q2. But that's me. That was a good solid 80 to 90 rider when they took top 80. I was good for an 80th to 90th or 81st to 90th. That's what I was good for.
It's a sweet spot. People don't know, but it was the place to be once upon a time.
There was nothing better than having the run of your life for 124th place.
I know.
Nothing better than crawling out of the catch net at Leah Gang for a solid 130th.
Yeah, it's a weird one setting that post-race email to sponsors and being like, I got a top 100. So something to write home about.
We're making progress.
Yeah. Next week I'll go for top 90.
Yeah.
You
Got 82nd again. Done it multiple times.
Okay, Dakota, how much more time do you have?
A bit.
Okay, we're chilling then.
I would like to be there tonight.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
The whole program is waiting.
But
They're
you're
all out there.
you're in Spain, so people
Yeah.
eat late.
Yeah.
Thoughts on 3 people podiums?
It did look pretty elite, but I do like a 5-man podium. There's just a little more energy with 5 because I think you get that life-changing event where like a rider like me in Lotion like definitely didn't like I was a bit of a I think with 3 you get the same names and the podium is not as exciting, where when you have 5 there's like that underdog that could get up there that like nobody expected him to be there, and he had the triumphant ride of his life, and it's the spirit of downhill, and he's on the podium. Yeah.
Yeah, like imagine Richie and Thibaut Deprella. They all.
Well, the
You
person
remember
don't
more.
want
It's just.
yeah, I just don't really see the point of changing it necessarily. Like the whole argument for like some sort of elite agenda, I think is kind of bullshit. But yeah, it's a good point. I never thought about like, yeah, the energy's better. Of course, you might get different names, but also you might get people you're not used to seeing up there, but you do get more variety from each round, which is cool,
Yeah. I'm gonna use ChatGPT real quick and see how much the payouts are for the podium, because I'm pretty sure they didn't increase the payout. They just don't pay 2 more spots.
That's
true.
something.
Wait,
That's bogus.
I'd have thought at World Cups they paid to like 10th place.
I don't know.
Are we really going to talk about money again? This is crazy. How many podcasts have we complained about money? At this point, we could have started a fucking GoFundMe and actually make change in this world. It is depressing for sure to think about all the effort, all the danger and risk, and homies are doing it for like 3,000.
Oh, it does pay. It does pay to 10th. 10th place gets 200 euros.
That is bananas.
4th place gets 800. 5th place gets 600 euros.
The entry fee has gone up too. It's 150 now to register. It was
on top of your.
I do believe. This isn't fact. These are not facts.
Yeah.
But when I was paying to race, they were $80, and I believe now they're 150.
Yeah. Still 3,750 euros for first place.
That is so nuts. What's Ed Masters doing for his whole shot award? Isn't that like $250? I think that's what it was.
I think so.
That I want to say like Rider App put up the money for, which is super cool, by the way.
Yep.
But like, that's 10th place. Same money. I'm like I feel like if each of us could easily put up as much money to pay 5th place the same as what the UCI is paying, something is wrong. Anyways, that was a tangent. I want to kind of keep us moving through here just so we don't have to lose Dak. But belt drive didn't win. I feel like everybody thought it was going to. Also, Reese's belt fell off.
People really think he was going to?
I think it.
In the women's field, I guess.
Yeah, with Harriet, I think it's going to happen for sure. Rotor guards are all the rage. We had electronics last year. We've kind of gone back a little bit. We got 3D printed rotor guards, but I definitely want them. They're cool. They also look a little bulky at the moment, but like, do you think that really makes a difference?
The rotor guard?
Yeah.
I could see it making a difference on a track like Poland. No, I don't think Val d'Isole would make that much, unless it was, I don't know, pouring rain maybe.
I guess you're braking so much more that it's.
I was just thinking about how muddy it is and flat and like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That was my thought. Like when it's flat, you're not braking, obviously. So if you go like you go like a 5 to 10 second long section, not braking, and then you go to brake again, it's definitely going to be a little bit delayed.
Yeah.
How was it taking us this long? You know?
Well, we were talking about it. I feel like we've been talking about doing this for years with JP and Andre.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. We were talking about how sick it'd be, like, with a
I don't
dirt
think
bike.
I don't think there's like somebody actually making them. I think a lot of these are like 3D printed by Fox or the brand or whoever. So there's still opportunity.
I think there's like an open source one on the web that if you have a 3D printer, you just print it.
Dang. How about what's his name? Reese Wilson with the like THE style fender.
You know,
Like
the Thunders used to look cool, and they look a lot less cool for some reason.
It looks so bad.
Yeah. Like we love dirt bikes, but turns out that's not a dirt bike.
Yeah, I mean, I love them for the nostalgia factor, but
Yeah.
like if you're not doing KODs and fender slaps, like take the thing off.
Yeah. The price to run, man.
It just looks stupid. Like you couldn't just 3D print something to the like the fork guards. Like that goes to the old DVO did.
Yeah. Probably
don't know.
could.
I was kind of
That probably looks stupid too, though. Let's be real. It probably wouldn't look that good either for some reason.
I just think it doesn't look good because it's so high up.
It doesn't look like it does anything.
I was gonna say, is it functional?
Joe Breeden had one on, and it was just like pointed to the sky, and I don't know, maybe they were trying to catch
It's definitely not aerodynamic.
No.
Yeah, I don't think it does anything, to be honest. I mean,
I just like a full XL low fender.
little mud hugger.
Little mud hugger. Get a full mud.
Are we gonna start doing like through the you get like the back of the fender and you like zip tie it to your frame? Like on the TFC fender?
Yeah, you sign me up for this.
Yeah, because you'd zip tie it to your frame on like the down tube.
Yeah, those were cool.
Be wider because that's where like all the mud would come from.
The old bat wings.
Yeah. So that like, are we gonna do shrouds? You know, more advertising opportunity. I've been talking about this for years, guys.
With their e-bike. So
monetization, it's what we need.
I'm always down for more branding. Let me really, where are the niche shin pads? Steve P was ahead of his game, you know? Branding all the way up the lower leg.
That's another one. How do we feel about having people having like the 7 like IDP on the front of their pants, like where the knee pad is?
I think it's smart. Yeah, I think it makes sense. I mean, we know it's underneath there, but might as well remind us.
I sure do love Fig Newtons, but this sticker is large and inconvenient.
He's gonna have the 100% tear offs, like the podium tear offs. He's gonna ride them in his race runs.
First. Claiming it. All right. I'm gonna keep us moving here. Lit kit, worst kit.
Worst kit has got to be the Fox Speed Suit.
Yeah,
I was so dumb.
The how do you want to call it? The color blocking did not accentuate the rider's physique.
No,
everybody looks so short and wide.
Yeah, it looks bad.
There's too much going on. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, unfortunately, you just look like you're trying to go to space or like a Olympic speed skater kind of thing.
Yeah,
that's what I'm getting from it. Yeah, that's
honestly, I didn't write anything down for Lit Kit. I'm trying to think back to like who actually looked cool, but I didn't really log anything in my mind on who actually looked sick.
I like the Frameworks kits.
Yeah, I actually liked Loic's kit. I mean, I know it was like all red, but it just looked freaking fast. Dak, what's up with you guys just being in the same gear last year?
It's different, slightly.
But like it's mostly the same.
It's an off-white that looks like it's stained, to be honest.
That's what Joe Breeden's team looked like. They look like they had stains all over their gear, the TLD stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have a blue kit they race in. It's not, they don't race in the white kit. They're in the blue.
I know, but
Pinky definitely looked like he had pooped himself at the Tennessee National. I got a picture. Maybe we'll make it the cover photo of this. It was a little rough looking. The white pants with the brown butt just wasn't doing it.
Guys, can we just pull the plug on the white pants?
God, it's intense.
It's so bad. Like,
Oh
guys,
my gosh, it's too much.
it's not 2023 anymore. Like, we've leveled up.
Even then, it wasn't it.
No, it doesn't look good. Even like the world, I want someone to wear a world champs jersey without white pants.
Yeah, that's what Asa was in, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, and it's like, dude, it's raining out, it's muddy.
Yeah.
If you're a world
Well,
champion, you can wear whatever you want. Like I think white pants should be reserved for the world champion. This is what I'm gonna say.
I mean,
This is
you
my
can wear whatever you want, but like my choice would not be white pants in the rain.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, back when we raced, I don't think anybody made white gear because they knew that.
Dog.
Oh, yeah, it's right. Fast house guy. Whatever. Calm down.
Yeah.
That's true.
I said,
How long was that gear white? How long was it white?
I brought it on
One
some
lap.
occasions. It only came out a couple times, and it was in Mammoth, Killington in the dry, and maybe Wyndham. Yeah.
Yeah. But see, the key is the gear wasn't as tight back then.
No.
I don't know why. It's just.
I was also Moto Gear because I rode for them before they made mountain bike gear.
Yeah, the leather's on. First mountain bike rider for them.
Back in my day.
Back in my day, everyone else that rides for Fast House now, you can thank me.
Who rides in Fast House now?
Our dog,
And
Mac, Bubba, Colton Peterson.
I haven't recognized any of these names.
I was about to say, he doesn't even know who T-Mac is.
Just kidding. All right, let's keep moving on because I don't want Dak to be hungry. Max's make or break section. Forgot to leave this off with thank you, Maxis. Thank you, BergTech, for staying on board this year. And we're also sponsored by Vital Merch. You should go buy some Vital Merch if you want to rep our logo. This is actually, there's more than just logo shirts. You can buy a Vital Raw shirt, which is pretty cool.
You can buy a shirt with our faces on it.
You actually can do that. Not recommended, but you can do it. Dak, this is typically the section where you pick out the track that you think played the biggest role in the race weekend. You weren't there, but still love to hear your insight.
I thought it was really cool watching the race. The flat pedal section going into the last woods was like super crucial. And I mean, obviously I heard going into the wooden bridge, the Talladega turn thing, that it was pretty physical in there and it was hard to carry speed. But what really stuck out to me was Nick's on track in the mud hole. So there was a few mud holes on the pedal and Amari was on another level for pedaling through there. Like, it was really incredible how fast he rolled and how far he pedaled. But to me, it just looked like everybody was pretty tired after the wooden berm. And obviously, by the time they crossed the road after those puddles, they had already sprinted as hard as they could, then hit the puddles and lost all their speed, and then continued to coast. And I don't know what Nick's told Blake to do in there, but to me, it was incredible how well he got through those holes. And I actually did talk to him after the race. I sent a text and said, "Good job." He said he was super tired. He was just holding on at the bottom there. Obviously, he rode the last steep section pretty incredible and made it happen in true champion style. But yeah, getting through those mud holes, man, it was like a big sinkhole in the middle of the track and everyone was losing speed. And I think that was really make or break for the weekend if you had the gas to continue to pedal across that road or not, and how you got through those holes.
A bit of a quagmire in there.
Real quag.
See, I was joking about sinkholes a little bit ago, but we had a sinkhole horse. Yeah.
Sinkhole on turn 36.
Yeah. I was surprised how many riders came into that wooden bridge just gassed looking. I was like, well, what are you guys doing all off season? You know? Like you're at that point, you're what, 2.5, maybe a little bit less, like 2 and in. I'm like, you're not that far into a run. Like I'm not trying to say it's not tiring. That's why I'm not out there. But
at the same time, you guys are, you're full-time athletes getting paid really well.
For
why
sure,
they're tired.
No, there were some people that were like I was like, dude, this is kind of embarrassing, honestly.
Yeah.
But okay, Dak, what tires would you have ran? What Max's tires, since you're a Max's guy?
High roller 3.
Yeah.
I actually seen Ronan had dries on his bike. I was quite
Same with
surprised at
Ocean.
that.
It was so thin. Like
Ocean never runs muds. That boy always runs dries, which is actually crazy. I would have run an eye roller. I think that would have been great. But to me, I mean, I don't know if I wasn't there with the conditions, but it didn't look like shorty territory.
yeah,
Dude,
it's too wet. Like,
you
let's
say
get
that,
it.
but Richie Rude on wet screens,
That is true.
You're kidding. Cut wetties?
Letty East Coast guy.
Wetties are underrated.
Yeah,
You don't need to lean to turn them, boys.
straight up just steering it.
No, you can steer it. That is the best part about a wetty. You don't even have to lean that rig over to get her to bite into the side knob.
You know what? I want I just want some wet screens, and I want to go to the gnarliest conditions, somewhere, I don't know where, and I just want to ride wet screens for a day.
The
Just
J
not
grass
Yeah,
wet.
about 21 psi in them things.
Less.
And
Put 18, 20,
right? All right.
18, 22.
And
Hook.
yeah,
Dude, have you seen the new Shredda tires from Schwalbe? Those are literally dirt bike tires. The knobs are like 20 mils tall. They're nuts.
MX34s.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Dude, the sector on the rear of my bike right now, that thing's like running a full scoop. It was kind of sick in Kernville, not gonna lie. It was actually really sick.
Fast rolling scoop.
Like over hardback. Yeah, more of an MX14 style. Yeah, Southwick tire. Might could pull a start at Paula on it, but that sector was actually kind of sick. Not the greatest on bike pack, but if you got a little something to dig into, a little sand in your trails, pretty sick.
Better not run that thing second moto. People get away from you.
Yeah.
Would you have ran high rollers front rear?
Yeah, because it's a traditional side knob.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a DHR side knob. It has a little better braking, a little better bite when you're starting to initiate the corner. Cleans mud a little better. It's a great tire. You should go pick yourself up one at your local dealer.
I would agree. I actually just put one back on for my trip to Finale in a downhill casing, key asterisk. But it was great.
I really like it because it's a little bit of a smaller tire, which I think is great at slicing through some of the mud. I mean, it's I believe it's a 2.4. Yeah, I mean, definitely not like I'd go like the best for like a real rough track where you need like a high volume massa guy, something like that, a little easier on the hands. But for a day when it's soft and muddy, I think that the size of the tire does really well in that condition.
I was a very average rider myself. I've never noticed that, but that's cool insight from you. Like I can run it. I did some forever blown away that I can run what looks like a cut spike on like pretty much any condition and it's fine. So, but yes. Yeah, the volume thing, that's interesting. Haven't thought about that.
I feel like that's what you used to do, Jason. When you pop 30 to MSA, 2.5s.
Well, it's just because I probably bought the wrong size tires. That happened once. I bought tires from Jensen, went to Lord's, stalled them, never looked back. And then afterwards, I'm like, man, these tires sure did look big. 2.6s. Thick boys. I was making my own ruts. They didn't even fit in the other ones. Thoughts on the track while we're here talking about it? Good, bad, boring?
Very one line. I think they should have routed it outside of the old track in lots of places. Should have straightened it out more too. It looked like it was, especially with the rain.
Straight.
Especially with the rain, it looked like it was rolling really slow.
Yeah, it was for sure.
But I think they should have straightened it out through some of those corners, and just brought the speed up.
Yeah,
would have been good.
I wonder in the drive,
and then you could have gotten more lines too. I think like
it was a physical track to begin with. Like it was physical to begin with. The pedal was hard, and with the rain, it just everywhere where they had the cameras, it was physical. I don't
Yeah.
feel like, I mean, in the middle section, it looked great. Like the track looked super fun. Into that berm after where Tebow did the whip thing into the rut, but the bottom, I mean, it was just, yeah, it was a bit pedally. It would have been fine if it was dry, but I think like those flat sections really get pointed out in conditions like that.
Yeah, that bottom right-hand turn with the stump gap into it, I think if they would have routed it so you couldn't do the stump gap and just made a full big off camber, could have been sick, and then like carried speed through that. That was like balling people up, and it was kind of like an anticlimactic part of it. Was like, oh, are they gonna make it through this section? As in, like, are they gonna get stood up, or are they gonna actually roll through it? And I think that kind of dropped people back a few places here and there.
Yeah, that was my make or break section, just because some people really lost their whole race run right there. But I totally agree. It kind of like killed the vibe. On the other hand, it's kind of cool to see like a tricky section and some people nail it, but it wasn't knowing it probably was harder to ride than visually it looked, you know?
What it reminded me of was Fort William 2017 mud pits. And like it was like more of, if you got through it, like you could one run ride one line and get through it perfect. Next run you'd flip the bars. And on the same line. And that's what it kind of reminded me of. It's like maybe you've been riding that same line all weekend, but in your race run, it's just muddier, or it just grabs you.
This is our third sinkhole brought up, 2017, Fort William. Turns out sinkholes are a way bigger issue than I thought. My last note here is, what would we have chose for vision out there? We're going roll-offs, we're going tear-offs, we're going Bluetooth bar roll-off things. I think
Rapid Racer.
What is it?
I think Rapid Racer is the name of the product. I've actually thought about buying these, but I thought they would be too heavy on my helmet. Like you just hit a button and they just like
the motor.
Pretty sick, honestly. I have literally had them in the cart multiple times.
After your freaking luck last year, you probably should order them.
Yeah, I probably should have, I've just come to the conclusion I'm never running roll-offs. Me and roll-offs have broken up. I've done more harm than good.
The problem with roll-offs is you have to be so careful getting them to the start gate.
Yeah.
Like you have to set them up perfectly, dry environment. You need to have clean hands, maybe rubber gloves on, maybe some surgical gloves. And if you get them set up perfect, they're dialed. And you get them to the start gate clean with no water behind the film, nothing like that. Like you got to have them in a bag. But if you can't get them to the start gate clean, just write off your whole weekend.
Yeah. They are kind of a funny concept when you really think about it, because they're so delicate. The big thing for me as well is you end up with such a narrow field of view. You just have like this little rectangle that personally I always struggled with.
I think the 100% ones are pretty good now.
Yeah,
they're pretty big.
Bigger. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's true. I don't know. I can't like run a GoPro with my visor that much. It's like 2 in my view, but some people just don't have an issue.
You run a GoPro and you run a set of rollies.
Like you're in a trophy truck.
You need the unicorn mount, the one that goes off the back, so you can like balance your helmet.
Dude, seriously,
out there like a Fig Newton. Honestly, yeah, I need a counterweight on there, but I'm like out there with the Fig Newton sticker on, like can't see anything, but this is awesome. I've now went to the GoPro, the Hero, the real light one that's like an AirPods case, and I'm a tear off guy. I've just decided that it's what it is.
Yeah, that's just what it is at some point. But are you laminated or are you single?
Laminated perimeter seal.
Okay. Perimeter seal.
Oh. Yeah, you gotta like that.
Yeah, you gotta like that.
It's like that at Honey Pea, we got perimeter seal.
Which ones are those on? The Armegas, or are they on
Armega? They're a little spendy, don't get me wrong. They're a little spendy, but hey, if you've already spent this much money to go racing on the weekend, what is a couple extra bucks? Skip that coffee, get yourself some Folgers, Maxwell House Master Blend, and just go ahead and just get some perimeter seals and just save your weekend. Do yourself a favor, just it's just a little security. Well, it's a little bit of security for your race run. What's a couple extra bucks anyways?
It's one of the better 100% ads I've ever heard.
Yeah. There it is.
But actually, this is. I mean, I think I've done this forever. Oh, you get water under them, and I'm like,
yeah.
You also had those goggles that had like the open vents on the top. Super good.
Come on! Don't start with me. Our Mega's got foam.
I know, but the old ones that you used to run before you're on Honey Pea.
Dude, I'm pro open vents.
No,
you get airplay.
I was in the booth at Sea Otter, and they're like, "Well, why do you run our Mega roll off? Let's run a little bit of the lighter one." So, actually, they got that. I actually should know the name of the goggle. I don't know the name of the new goggle.
Or the
no, they're not the Curry. They're the new injected mold ones, and they're a little lighter, and they're a little bit smaller, but not a lot. Like I know, like Chris Grice has issues with the Armegas because they push on his nose a bit, and he doesn't feel like he can breathe, so he runs the smaller one. But Armatic, yes, correct. The Armatic, I think, is a little lighter, so maybe go to that. Maybe I could try that. A little cheaper, save you a couple bucks. You can afford those perimeter seal tear offs.
Yep,
and I'm texting Hervé after this, see if he wants to sponsor the podcast. Get Honey Pea on board. That'd be a on board. That'd be a fun. That would be full circle for me.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what Hervé would say to that? Can you imagine his response? Aha! You call me. You want some money?
Yeah.
And now you call me. I love Hervé. We have some stories if we could tell him on this show.
I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick, and then we'll just run through some racing. We'll keep it tight.
I'm pushing 9 o'clock. So
all right.
Spanish
dinner doesn't start till 10. So
true.
With the tagline "Labor of Love," BergTech isn't shy about the countless hours they've invested in developing components that they feel offer riders a true technical advantage. Based in the UK and born out of a passion for mountain biking and racing, BergTech produces a ton of trick parts, from bars, stems, and grips to anodized axles, shock hardware, and saddles. The cockpit of choice for the Santa Cruz Syndicate and many other riders. Make sure to check out BergTech the next time you want to give your bike some deserving love. You know what's way cheaper than that suspension service your bike desperately needs, or less of a hassle than finally replacing those C-frame bearings you said you would swap after last winter? Slapping on some crispy, fresh Maxxis tires. Doesn't matter if you've got a month-old whip that came with some questionable rubber, or you're still rolling around on 26-inch wheels like it's 2013, Maxxis has got you covered. The tires of choice for the world's fastest racers. Whether they're sponsored by Maxxis or not, you can visit your local shop or favorite online retailer to get the same tread patterns and compounds. UK components brand BergTech has long designed and developed components for racers and everyday riders alike. Well known as the cockpit of choice for shredders like Veronique Sandler and Josh Bryceland, they recently picked up the Trek Factory DH Squad and the Yeti Cycles team. So look for Richie Rude, Mick Hanna, Loris Vergier, and Sacha Ernest all racing this season with the signature white and yellow BergTech badge. But I do have to warn you though, as the BergTech website is honestly a euphoric dark trap of mountain bike componentry. It's hard to leave without finding something you didn't know your bike badly needed. Anodized UDH hangers and axles? Yep. Titanium frame bolts? Of course. Offset shock bushings? Add to cart. A true one-stop shop for all the finer details and contact points on your bike. Make sure to check everything out at bergtech-usa.com. Hot off the press, Industry 9 just launched their new Hydra Grade 300 V2 aluminum wheel set built for downhill racing, bike park smashing, and e-bike ripping. The rim features i9's triple cavity hollow beadwall technology that significantly reduces pinch flats, increases impact resistance, and minimizes beadwall deformation in the event of a harsh impact. Dubbed the strongest aluminum rim Industry 9 has ever created, the Grade 300 V2 wheels are only offered in a 32 spoke count and a 27.5, 29, and mixed wheeled configuration and retail for $1,430. Check them out if you're looking for some problem-free wheels that can handle a serious beating.
Piggy says, I'm hungry. Pinky said, I'm hungry. Is it dinner time yet? I'm hungry. He's losing muscles. He's going catabolic.
He's in ketosis.
I realize I've also dicked you guys around on this podcast quite a lot, so I'm sorry.
It does feel good to hear you say that.
Yeah.
Wow,
I'm just kidding.
I'm just the cream stuffing in the middle of that Oreo. Get your mind out of the gutter.
All right, let's blast through some
racing.
Yeah.
There we
Let's
go.
let's just blast through some racing. Blast on through.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay, I'll try to do my best to speak through this. Junior women, Rosa Jensen, first race, first place, specialized gravity. That was rad to see. We had Lena Frenner, Norco rider, first year World Cup racer in second. Also really cool to see 2 new names coming out, get on the podium. Ellie Holzbosch in third. Solid for her. I'm assuming herself and probably a lot of people maybe expect a bit more this season just with her second year racing. Would say Bally Osgard was probably the U.S. hopeful that will be winning a lot of World Cups this year, but ended up going down in finals. I think I had a note. Yeah, if you took away her crash split, she would have won the race with like her other split combined. Tilly Melton, Xana Logar, other 2 U.S. girls who were up there, and it's just rad to see so much U.S. ladies at the World Cups right now.
Yep.
I'm gonna keep going.
Yep. Let's just keep it going. Keep it rolling.
Keep her flowing. Junior women, Max Aaron won one on the weekend. Kid is insane style. He's super fast. I love that we've got himself, Tyler Wade, Asa, like a lot of names just really pushing the speed of this class right now. Be really exciting next year when all these kids move up. Yes.
Tyler Wait, I rode with him and the other kid, John T.
Yeah.
They were literally pushing their downhill bikes up the road at Andorra, and we picked them up this morning to do it on
So sick.
That's the most
literally pushing up the road.
That's the most like junior, but also Yeti thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
That just fits the Yeti image. I just think of like, I just think of like Sam Blankensop pushing his bike up trails in Colorado back in 2007.
I just thought that was pretty cool. Super passionate. Like, I mean, there's definitely like, Asa and Max are like in the, the cream of the crop in the class at the moment. And it's like crazy to see Max Olin like riding technically so sound. Like he looks amazing on the bike, and Asa's obviously a madman, but it's just cool to see the passion from the kids.
But Tyler Wait has never not been on the podium at every World Cup he started.
Oh, that's impressive. And this is a way better start to his year than last year. I think he flatted Fort William, then right afterwards broke his collarbone or
At
something
Fort
like that.
William. Yeah.
That's how it went. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, second, I think his best result to this point, but then also a way better start to the year. And like John T. Williamson, the other kid on, I think it was his first World Cup, 'cause I think he's a year younger, but fourth, like sick to see another crop of Kiwis coming through, like their whole racing scene seems really good right now. Asa, I mean, dude was still there. Like he got 10th, which I think is still really impressive. He freaking crashes, pulls a glove off, baller. Probably one of the sicker moves I've seen. Doesn't just pull it off, he flicks it off. And then fastest 2 lower splits. Like who the fuck does that,
Yeah.
Which is cool to see because like he didn't win qualifying. He was behind Max. So to see that like he had the speed, I think those 2 will be going at it. I feel like I had a note about Max's brother Till.
Hold on.
How did I have his name told? I did Max again. Yeah. He had really good splits. So like I feel like he's been so heavily in the shadow of his brother, but like he has the speed. He's got to put it together, I think.
They both won, haven't they?
I don't know if Till has won.
I feel like they both won last year.
I got Roots and Reno up. I can look real quick. But
Now.
it's a cool first name.
Also,
Lucas second.
Theodora, 11th. I think he's just coming back from injury as well. So that's like pretty. I don't think he was fully healthy, or had a ton of time on the bike. So like, that is pretty sick for him.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a hot take on junior racing.
No.
Don't think it should be at World Cups. I think there should be a U21 class.
I have a steaming hot first take.
Yeah. And yeah, I just don't see why we're having junior racing at World Cups. And
For what reason?
most of them aren't fully developed. Cross country, they do U23. Road racing, same thing. Enduro's U21. Wise downhill U19 or like 18 under.
Wait, so
So, like,
just maybe having the age get bumped up, but still
I think,
having it.
yeah, I think it should be a U21. And then also like it's like, why are you pulling kids that are 16 out of school and all that? Like, to travel around the world and like putting these marketing dollars, like these big, I don't know, a lot of marketing dollars and stuff towards a 17-year-old kid or like a 16-year-old kid.
It's because school is for fools. That's my Tanner. Yeah. Hey,
I really don't think all these kids that go to Windrock and train all
I-
winter even go to school.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like
I
that
was like senior year of college,
Mhm.
like literally in college racing World Cups.
yeah.
Why? These kids, they're like, oh, it's too big of a work schedule for
Yeah.
school. What?
And I'm like, if you can't multitask that, you need to just cut it off now. Find a bridge.
I could see some reasoning to make the age jump a little bit later.
I also think that most of the kids aren't fully developed. Like look at Chris Grice. Like he's like just coming into his own now, but he's 21 now. And
I feel like there's arguments on both sides though.
like I think like you should be able, like maybe like you should be able to race at 17. You could race U21 at 17. And if you win a certain amount, if you win two like supercross or like style, where like if you win two championships or you win two world titles, you go into the elite. But
Maybe the racing
you're not
winter
letting these
longer.
kids like develop, and you're gonna need to do something when everything shakes out and it's just top 30 and there's only 50 people going to a World Cup to qualify for elite. You're gonna need to do something because you're gonna start losing. I don't know. It's just gonna be like a weird thing where like either all of the racers are gonna be super young and you're gonna have a handful of older people, or you're gonna have like in Supercross right now and Moto, it's like you have all these older racers and you have like what happens to the younger racers? Like what happens to these people when they have junior world titles and they don't have a ride for elites?
Yeah.
I feel like it's cool. I think it would make the class more competitive. Like I think you'd have a dude like Jackson or Jordan that's still in the class for another year or two, and the class is more competitive. Make for better racing.
Yeah.
Oh, it would also be really hard for a 16-year-old kid to qualify if there's 21 years old. And that's the only thing I'm a little worried about is like the difference in the kids at 16, 17, and 21 in terms of development. But also
that
what they're gonna face in elite. So
yeah, and it supports your grassroots racing or your continental series and that kind of stuff. If you have these 16 to 18-year-olds racing the continental series more so to get to the U21 level.
I wonder, I like all those points. Well, you got to go, Dak? Is that what that was? Now you're muted. My only thing is, it seems like maybe some of those changes are for like the masses versus like the maxes and the aces. No matter what age they are, they're going up and they're getting on a factory team. And so it's like maybe changes to kind of cater towards somebody like a Chris Grice who like isn't as fast as Asa. Like, no offense, but like,
Yeah, but I think you could still race when you're younger. You'd just be in the U21 class, and then you would win your championships, and you'd be like an Adam Sansarillo or something like that that starts super young.
That's true.
Or like a Jet
That would be
Lawrence,
cool.
and like you're in the 450 class when you're 19 years old.
Or you can just max Anstey and be in.
Yeah, or you can be 21 and finally winning.
Yeah.
That
actually would be pretty neat.
Yeah.
Too bad that's way too much for them to handle. That'll never happen.
Because like half the kids in this class aren't going to be racing World Cups in a couple years. Like, I'm sorry, but that's just how it's going to go. More than half the kids in this class.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got 2 years, which is stressful to begin with,
Yeah.
to like make it happen,
Mhm.
prove yourself. So,
Yeah.
okay, women,
Women.
Tawny, first showing on the New Orbea, wins, pretty sick. She looked good all weekend. Contrast Valley kind of fell flat, which was surprising. Sounded like she didn't have the intensity come race run, which
Literally
is
fell
understandable. Which is understandable considering their conditions were heinous for the women's. Anna coming through Q2, showing it ain't no thing. Get second. That was really rad to see. Stoked for her in frameworks. Nina in third. I think it was a pretty big one for her. She had a kind of a lackluster last year. Good start for the year. She seems like somebody who needs momentum.
I think the track suited her well. She's really strong, and it was very physical, like Dak said. So,
Yep. Hammy kind of quietly in fourth. Haven't really heard as much from her. First outing on the Yeti though. It's cool to see her get a 2024 podium, we'll call it, if it would have been top 5. I actually looked it up, and she hasn't won a World Cup since like 22, which is surprising to hear just because she was so dominant for a while. But
she's been
those
hurt for 2 years.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like that head injury at I think it was Andorra she got was pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
What's up, Dak?
I was just, dude, my hip hurt. I was trying to lean over and smash my mic on the ground. Sorry, boys.
Oh, I didn't even hear it. Moving down the list, I mean, Miriam in 10th, just off the pace this weekend. Said she was struggling. Marine Cabaret in 7th. She had some good splits. Kind of lost at the bottom. Lisa Bulladoo had written down her second elite final. So that's cool to see after she had a pretty good junior career. Also, definitely somebody benefiting for top 15. Gloria Scarcy in 6th, one of her best results. Cool to see. Good start for the year for her. Gracie Armstrong in 8th, which is definitely not where I think everybody expects her to be. But after her last year is like,
I mean, I feel like that's kind of expected, was like kind of being in the middle of it all and like building. She just needs to stay healthy, I feel like.
She needs to stay healthy and she needs to qualify. Last year, she just literally had a hard time making it in. So, and then she got hurt.
Yeah, she got hurt too.
Okay, that's it. That's all my notes.
Real quick, Jason, you read the Orbea. Was it sick?
Yes, it was sick. I read it for a day.
It looked stiff. It looked like it was like not moving. I thought personally, like the bike looked very stiff.
Yeah, it doesn't ride very stiff. I mean, we rode it in more damp conditions than not. So, grain of salt. But I would say it rides very low and planted, which makes sense since they developed that with what they learned from using the Wild Berry bike as a testing platform. Adding weights, super cool. Very pro weights, and a little bit I played around with them. It's a bike that you sit in pretty heavy, which is nice. Like a very like turn from the hips kind of a mentality. And the bike drives really well. Like it drives through compressions quite impressively.
So, weight at the bottom bracket definitely helps with that.
Yes.
Is it slightly, does the wheel path, does it go back and then up?
I actually don't know. Because I didn't get that info from them and I forgot to ask. If I had to guess, probably a little bit, but nothing crazy.
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to think of how to like drive through stuff a little bit because it seems like it would need to go up, but also like back a little bit. The wheel path.
I think part of it is they've got what is it called? The concentric rear pivot. And so the braking is pretty well separated. So like a lot of times when you're going through holes, or a lot of times when I felt like it was driving was under braking.
Okay.
So it does what
that's interesting.
And then the anti-squat is super low, which frees up the bike to work pretty well. Or sorry, like the suspension to work pretty freely. So yeah, it is neat. Like it's cool that you could buy a separate link and a shock and a fork and have 2 bikes. I think that's pretty nice. Yeah, we're getting one to test in Whistler this summer, so that'll be sick. So, and it looks good. It's a good looking bike.
Dak says he's got to go
right now.
Yep. He said
muted.
he says Mr. Ronan is not happy with him.
Too many Red Bulls.
None of the other boys are on for the 9 o'clock dinner. Not trying to push them to 10. Boys got a ride tomorrow, so they've been super nice to wait for me.
That's all good. I appreciate you making it.
I think
But
Tom
though-
Platt, the Labor of Love Award.
All right, when we get there, we'll
That's
consider.
That's my.
Uh,
I just figured you were gonna. I figured you were gonna trim this part out, anyways. Not a big trimmer these days.
no, what? Not enough time. Ain't nobody got time for trimming.
You're just right.
Hold on. 2 quick things. Loudonville, are you going?
I will be there.
Okay. Who do you?
I will be in Loudonville. I'm not registered to race the race, and we didn't originally plan on it. It was already, it was already said that Greg would race it. And my plan was to come back at Leo Gang. So, regardless of how fast I feel like I could ride for a few sections, putting together a World Cup race run within 3 seconds of the winner is like pretty gnarly. So, I don't think I'm right there like yet. And also like the amount of like track walk and the amount of like workload of the weekend, I think it's a bit much. So shoot for Leo Gang.
Does Greg stay around once you come back?
That is for the powers to be to decide. That's not my decision.
Who's winning in Loudonville? Men, women. Pick real quick.
Someone French. It's a race in France. Someone French is going to win. This is just what it is. I'm going to throw a wild card out there. Loris Vergier. He's French.
What about Brooklyn?
That doesn't seem that wild though. I've got a wild card for you.
Reese Wilson.
Who?
Almost a stack on the V10.
He's also
That would honestly be. I would honestly like that. That would be so gangster. I think Valley's going to be fired up, and she's going to come firing. Or watch out. Valley's going to be on a tear.
All right, go eat dinner. All right, thank you for joining us.
Later, boys.
Yeah. Tell Pinky we say hi.
Yeah,
Will do.
And Jake. Oh,
Dakota Norton, everybody. There he is. There he goes.
was.
All right, let's
Okay.
keep burning through this because it's been long.
Yeah.
It's been good, but it's been long. Loic won. He's a G. Not surprising, but also just always impressive. Ocean in second, so close to his. I think it would be his second win, but he looks solid, looking good on that white tee. Making her eat. Amory in third. Dude's always there. I think he's in the hunt for the overall this year, even though he's kind of been chiller after coming back from his injury in what was that, 23?
Yeah.
I think he's going to be up there for battling for some wins again. Richie fourth, we mentioned it. Richie came, Richie smashed. Pretty sick to see. Same with Martin Mays in ninth. Enduro boys doing it. Kibo in fifth. My only note is he just won't take no for an answer, which is maybe too soon.
Dude, didn't someone say that? Didn't he?
Yeah,
say that?
that's what Nico said on the broadcast, which was rich.
Yeah.
Bit though. Shit's impressive. Yeah. Lucas sixth. Laura's seventh. I don't even know. Max Hartstern eighth. Martin Mays ninth. I forget who was in 10th.
10th was Benny Cool. Ben Walker
Right.
Launch
Shot.
on the new spot. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's small notes for all these people. They all could win a race, honestly. Max Hartstern, that was one of his best results in a couple of seasons, so that was cool to see in the top 10. Pinky, 11th, qualified third, had a really good weekend, a way better start to the season. He looks a lot more matured. Like I would say in his race run, you could almost see him like tell himself not to blow it and back it off at the bottom, which is still better than crashing out. So, I mean, maybe the sort of bummer, or wait, Loris and seventh was kind of surprising, but like Lockie and Ollie going down, that was a bummer because they both are so quick and I think have a lot of potential this year. I got a note on Andres Kolb and Ronan. They were both on really good runs or at least top 6 place runs before having crashes. So, yeah, man.
Yeah, it's a bit wild out there. I mean,
It is.
yeah, Go Breeden finally having some good
That was
good
cool.
runs after a few years.
Yep.
But yeah, it was interesting to see. I mean, first of all, 2 people without teams being in the finals.
Yeah.
That was kind of crazy because you wouldn't think that anyone without a team would be in the finals.
Yeah.
But I guess, yeah, there's a lot more people than you think that don't have teams. And there's also a lot more people on teams that did not make finals, which is
Yeah.
wild
It is
to think. Yeah. And then,
I would say,
go on.
I would say Jackson is like probably the one that he was sick this weekend, but very anticlimactic return to World Cup racing. I don't think that's a sign of how his year will go by any means.
I'm curious what's going on with like him and Lori because it seems like they both get sick a lot. Because Lori was sick as well.
Yeah, Lori had like, I don't actually know, forget what it was. It wasn't
You had like
Epstein-Barr.
something.
Yeah, like it
of
was similar. It
nature.
was much less like he got a cold. It was more like some long-term chronic fatigue. But yeah, it is. I mean, I guess Jackson did have like appendicitis, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Santa Cruz, man, they're really going through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was Lori out of finals? No.
Oh, yeah. Lori didn't make finals either. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel for him.
I heard he was sick. Yeah, that was, and then, dude, Reese Wilson just said he had a good run. Like,
yeah, that was surprising to hear.
And I was like,
I mean, you and I were talking about it. He's got a very relaxed looking setup at the moment. That could just be visual. It's hard to fully call it, but
I mean, we know that he rides very far over the back.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I sent you the screenshot or not, but he is so far behind the rear wheel and he has what I want to say is a 5 mil stem or a 10 mil stem.
Yeah, it's short.
It's short and tall.
And tall.
Yeah. And as we all know with Dak, is the only way to make that work is having a really soft fork. But also that's going to take speed away because just you're going in the travel. And I think his setup, he's gone in the wrong direction. But I mean, he could just pull it out in Leadenville next weekend. He did it last year with the second at Leadenville. And I don't know. I'd be like interested to see how next weekend goes and then how much of a change he makes between next weekend and Leogang, depending on how next weekend goes.
I would agree. I'm sure there's always a lot more behind the scenes too with just first race for the team. I'm sure there was just a lot to sort out, you know. He still seemed overall positive, so that's always a good thing. And the team still solid. I mean, Harriet's definitely like putting the team on her back in some ways. So I would love to see her get a win and just have a clean run and see where she places against like some established names, you know?
I was wondering because is Heather Wilson hurt right now?
Yes, there was, I forget exactly, but she was not there. Yeah.
I was wondering that because I was looking for her and I was like, I didn't know if she was hurt or not because that was the other one on the team. I was like, oh, okay, like they got another junior woman that could be winning.
Yep, totally. Yeah, it was a good race overall. Kind of I was bummer about it where it was like, I don't know why, but for some reason the kickoff this year felt a little bit just like calmer.
I don't know if there wasn't as much stuff going into it. Maybe I was kind of wondering, like, there just didn't seem to be much build because all the team releases and all of that happened months ago. And then it was, I mean, I guess Monster Series is going on the weekend before. And Fort William, they had I don't know what they're calling their national series now. They're still BDSs or what, but they had one of those and they had a Continental Series there, IXS.
I mean, there's been a lot of racing for sure. Southern Hemisphere, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Who knows why? I mean, it's maybe that could just be us. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
I'm always curious nowadays, like how many people actually are paying and watching the race versus just watching highlights and the news that comes out and
Mhm.
splits. You know, like in a lot of ways, it's almost as good, if not better, than just truly watching the race. Like it's all we could get into like the whole broadcast, but like the broadcast isn't anything crazy to watch, to be honest. I
Yeah.
don't think so.
I think
Yeah.
Nico did a decent job in there, but he also
Yep.
seemed like he wasn't paying attention the full time in the booth. If you notice, like there was times when Rick would ask a question, and then he just wouldn't answer.
Did I wonder how much of it's just like the producer being in his ear about other stuff, or who
Yeah.
knows? Like,
I mean, also his team's racing, and
yeah.
he's team manager and all that.
Did you listen to the Downtime podcast?
No, I listened to Needles, and
Okay.
I listened. Yeah,
The
the Needles podcast on it though with Sven, or no, with Win.
Oh, cool. The Downtime one was just interesting because Nico was kind of touching on broadcasting and doing his first World Cup, and it was surprising is in the past with Red Bull, through everything I've heard with like Elliot and Rob, was like there was so much time put into prepping and like so much time. And Nico said they didn't do any practice race, any practice commentating. He just like showed up, you know, and that was it. And I'm like, that is crazy to me, you know, like there was not, this isn't like it still sounded fine, but you would just think that
Well, you would
you
think
would
that they
want,
would
you would want
put some effort
more,
into it.
yeah, like that you would just want more banter and like it to be
Yeah.
more calm. And like, I don't see Nico as being someone who gets terribly nervous, but like still, like, it was just surprising to hear. And he had some, he was saying they like sprung the, uh, pre-race show stuff on him, like very last minute. And that
Yeah.
he was like, yeah, like, I mean, he's like, it was cool. Like, I don't really care about that, honestly, because I just skip all that when I watch the race anyway.
It was such a bummer because they had G on there. They
Okay,
had
yeah, yeah.
G and Charlie Murray,
Mhm.
and it was in like the pre-race show, and I listened to some of it, but also skipped over it. But I'm like, dude, you got G in there. Like, ask him some deep, hard-hitting questions
Yeah.
about racing and stuff. And he seems like someone that's at a point in their career that who is going to like answer these questions and not try and like safeguard things as much.
Mhm.
And it's like also another person that you didn't get much out of when they
Yeah.
were racing.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, dang, like they got G there. Like you've got all these like legends at, like if they also have Greg Minnaar at the races, you have like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it was the first one. Hopefully they change it around, make some changes for the better.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is hard to, the qualifying thing, Q2 that they did post
Mhm.
on YouTube, it was weird that they skipped riders.
Mhm.
They were skipping a lot of riders in there, and they're like
Yeah.
picking who they're showing.
That's my one knock on the broadcast itself for finals is like across all the classes is in the past, as you got closer to like your top 10, top 5 fastest qualifier, you saw more and more of their run where it's really random right now. Like,
Yeah.
doesn't, of course, like, yes, towards the last few, you get all of their run, but like 15th place qualifier versus the 12th place qualifier, you could pick them up at the very top and see their whole run, or you could pick them up at like the lower split. And I'm like, why is that so consistent?
I don't
Doesn't
know.
make any sense. So,
Yeah, I'm curious to see how they'll do it, if they'll have the same camera angles for Ludenville.
yeah.
I feel like they did a pretty good job last year at that race, but it'll be interesting to see. And yeah, I feel like they can only improve. I also want to see less people trying to qualify. I want consistency. Like, isn't that the whole point of going to what they're trying to do?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And it's
Less
such tight
riders.
margins that it's like, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think of another sport that has like as tight of margins. Like where the
Yeah.
30th place guy, or like, I guess it would be, we'll go to whoever like isn't crashing, which is like 24th ish. Like they're within 10 seconds of the win. I mean, the top Loic was only one on 304, but then it's like top three were all within less than a second of each other for a podium. Like we saw Spomer did the thing on Vital that was the Rock Creek finish and how close everyone was. It's like
That's why I'm pro skipping the wand. Any advantage you can get. No, it's true though. Yeah. No, it's I don't know. I think there could be some downsides of all the changes like in a year or two, with just narrowing the field and the crop and all that. But like Q1, Q2, I think is a positive thing. I'm pretty stoked to see how that keeps playing out. And I mean, overall, in all the categories, there's epic talent right now. Like we're on, gosh, a few seasons now of just really good racing. So
yeah,
kind of regardless, I just hope the racers keep standing up for themselves and asking for like the things they want. And I think that's going to be more so important as the field narrows and everybody that's involved is a name. So
yeah. I think they definitely need to push for that 5-rider podium because
it's push for fucking at least 10 grand for the win. Come on.
Yeah, and like I feel like they shouldn't even, if you're a rider, if you're the one winning or you're getting a top 3, just say like I'm not going on the podium and just take the fine.
Yeah.
And like until they do a 5-rider podium. It's
or
not about
the riders go up there. How hard is that?
Well, because they have security and stuff now for it.
Yeah.
After the XT riders did it. But like it's just don't go up to the podium. Just be like, no, I'm not going up there unless you call up the other people because they deserve to be recognized as well.
I feel like nobody would ever do that though. You tell me,
I also saw
not gonna get his photo taken on the podium. You know,
I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure. I mean, he is not.
I actually saw a
Loic.
funny comment, and it was like it was this comment that called Loic egotistical.
Oh, I did see that on the
And
phones. I was like, bro, come on.
I was like, who are you?
Just a hater.
Where do you get off? If you're about to call like one of the nicest, like, I see Loic like once a year. Okay, he still remembers who I am.
Same. Yeah.
Like, and yeah, I'm like, dude, like, he is such a nice dude.
No, he's the champ we don't deserve. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
Do not.
Yeah. You know what we should do is like Spen or somebody should just grab the top 5 and be taking podium photos somewhere else. You know?
Yeah. Because I don't know. They brought up a good point on the Moving the Needle podcast about how it's like just puts an asterisk next to all of the other people. It's like, oh, who has the most podiums in history? And it's like, well, now we got to recalculate because Nico Bulio might not actually have the most podiums now.
That's very true. Didn't think about that.
Or like Greg Menard might not have the most podiums or whatever. And
unfortunately, our stats stay the same. You and I don't change.
Yep. I might come out of retirement someday.
Yeah. If they come back, if they go back top 5, I might consider it.
Yeah. 1 year at PA, they did top 10.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't need that though.
I must have been 11th. Shit. All right. Bergtech, labor of love. We give $200 every round still to the privateer or person with limited support that did the best, which is going to get harder and harder to do from when we started this. So Dak already said Dom Platt, who was in 24th. I'm pretty sure I looked up Dom the other day, and his support is kind of limited to like a bike shop, it looks like, or a distributor of some kind.
Yeah, I'm like interested. It's very interesting because on his Instagram, I'm on there right now, and it says riding for GT project.
Yep, it was somebody else I was looking at. But yeah, like what is that? So
I don't know. Well, especially since Wynn just announced that he's no longer on GT. His like farewell to GT.
I will say in Dom's post from the weekend, he tags like somebody helping him on track, a mechanic, and then
Turbo Lend.
Well, what tells me like he's paying a lot of his way probably.
Yeah,
the people are just there and stuff.
Someone else taking spares for him.
Dude, pretty sick. Because the other two names I have on here, both right for frameworks. I don't know what that development program is like. I'm sure they're also paying their way. And then Stefano Introsi in 28th. I think he was the more bike shop person.
Probably.
Okay, out of these ones, if we're going by fast on the weekend, Dom takes the win. So, Dom Platt, I'll reach out to you. You get $200. Shout out to, I mean, there's probably more names than we actually realize that are paying a good portion of their way to be there, even if they're still on the team. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Frida, I'm sure Frida's still having to cash in quite a bit. So, even if they're not qualifying, I mean, I guess that was probably how I should have worded that.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of people that are qualifying that are still showing up to try to go race.
I would think that anyone that's on a UCI,
Yes,
they're getting paid for. Like that team should be paying for them to be there, especially if they're getting points for the team.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe one day we'll have numbers on what people actually make in this sport, but I think it would surprise people in both directions. I think.
Yeah, it totally would in both ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be.
I don't think it's as bad as what some people make it out to be.
Now people are making a living, you know?
Yeah.
So that's good to see. But people aren't getting rich everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Considering how much teams put into it.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yep. All right. Anything else in here?
Yeah, that's it. We got freaking Ludenville next week.
Yes.
Out for that. Hopefully, this sounds like it might not rain. Maybe it won't rain. Who knows?
I wonder if they're gonna change the track up at all.
Yeah, that's
I
a
know
question.
they were saying it was very down to like the hard pack last year.
Yeah.
Down to the base, and it wasn't like that fresh loamy track that it was the first year.
It would be cool that Lorbit's so steep and proper, but it's like anything. You do the same thing for a couple of years. You're like, let's ride a different track. So I would be very pro different lower bit.
I wonder if they'll do what they did. It looks pretty thick in there. I don't know, I've never been there, but the trees do look pretty thick. But if they'll do what Val d'Isole does and they kind of just shift the track over over the years and then they move it back to the old track and
that's enough for me. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Just move the cherry poles, 4 cards.
Yep. And we got Paul this weekend. They'll have the fork guards. They'll have those out.
Although we did just learn that those course markers don't mean anything. So maybe we won't even see any at Luneville.
Yeah, green means go. Everyone knows that.
Green means good to
in the good. Oh man.
Too much. Well, that's it.
Yep.
Round 1 done. Only 9 more to go. It's getting a little rough, I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna be a silent rest of the day. Silent Bob type of day.
You were good last weekend when we were riding.
That was wasn't too bad.
Jason and I rode together for the first time in
months.
Literally don't know when the last time we rode together was.
Maybe
like actually rode and
we just rode.
Yeah. Like didn't shoot any photos or anything like that.
Yeah. Every now and again we just go ride. I mean, I was still on plus bike, but that was riding.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody, Beat Practice Podcast, Maxis, Bergtech, thank you for supporting this. A lot of merch.
On the Vital site, if you want to buy merch, all the way on the right, there's a More tab. You click on that, and then you go to Vital Products, and then you go to the mountain bike line. There we go.
And then those orders will go to Spomer's Garage.
Yeah.
And his wife will kindly print them for you. Grassroots, baby.
There we go.
How we freaking do it. All right. See everybody in a week and a half.